Welcome to another math episode. Today you are going to learn how to simplify exponents a lot faster. This is for the ones who understand all the power rules and ones who are looking for how to do it faster. So if you do know your power rules, let's keep listening. Let's get straight to the point. Let's start with the negative exponents. When you got negative exponents, you want to move it by switching positions. So if it's at the top, you move it to the bottom, and vice versa. Try to do this in your head if possible. For instance, let's look at this first question right here. This is all on the top, technically over 1. They just don't show it like that. If you see something to the negative power, even if it's in a bracket, all you gotta do is put the whole thing. You don't have to distribute this. You could just put this whole thing at the bottom right away because it's in a parentheses, it's in a bracket. So we can write 5xy here, and that negative 1 will turn into a positive 1. It's going to have an imaginary 1 on the top, and anything to the first power is just itself. So we can write this as 1, 5xy. Looking at the bottom one, I have this negative exponent at the bottom, which I will have to write at the top up here. I'm going to switch its positions, and then I'm going to go and add it to the one with the same base. So instead of doing all that, you know that this is going to go to the top, and you're going to have to combine it with this. So why don't you just write plus 2 right away like that? This will save you some time, writing less work. So now you got 2m to the 5th power n squared. One step, super fast. Let's move on to the second part. Anything raised to the 0 power, anything with a 0 exponent equals 1. Even if it's a negative number like this, that will equal 1. If the whole thing is in a bracket and the 0 is on the outside, you don't have to distribute this exponent. That will just equal 1 as well. However, let's say you only got one of the variables with a 0 power like that. You know that that's going to equal 1, so instead of writing 4x times 1, it kind of just cancels off because 1 times anything is the same thing itself, so that will just equal 4x. And here is my last suggestion to save some time. When you're dividing powers, you want to start with the base that has the higher exponent. Let's look at this problem right here, and this is one of the best shortcuts. When you have something like this, the rule was to subtract the exponents. So your teacher might have taught you to write it like that, which will equal x to the negative 2, and then you're going to have to switch it to the bottom because it has a negative exponent. That's 3 steps. You could do this in 1 step. Start with the base that has the higher exponent, and wherever that is, that's where you're going to write the result. So we're going to go from bottom to top. I'm going to write x right here, and I'm going to subtract 5 minus 3, which is going to get you 2. And if there's nothing up here, it's a 1. Again, that is just 5 minus 3. And since I started here, I got to write my results at the bottom. Let's try that in a different problem. When you got coefficients, when you're dividing powers, you got to simplify those first. So that's going to get you 5 6. You can reduce them by dividing by 2. Now let's go letter by letter. x9, x3. Compare it. This one has the higher exponent, so I know that my results are going to go on the top. And you could just straight up do 9 minus 3, which will get you x to the 6th power. Now compare the next letter. y5, y1. This one has the higher exponent, meaning I'm going to have to write my y at the bottom, and 5 minus 1 is going to get you 4. So I did all that with 1 step. There's a lot of ways to tackle the situation, and we're trying to do it in the least amount of steps as possible, and at the same time trying to do some stuff in your head. First thing you can tackle is the inside of the parentheses. They got the same base, so we can add the exponents. That's going to get you x to the negative 5th power and if it's power to a power, you're gonna have to multiply those to get x negative 20. So I'm doing this all in my head, and once I get x negative 20, it's got a negative exponent. You can write it at the bottom, x to the 20th power. All the stuff that is in red glowing ink is what's going on in my head, and once you get better at this, you could start doing it in your head. For instance, this I know will get me x to the negative 12th power. So right away, what I start doing is, I know that I'm going to have to flip that at the bottom, so I'm just going to write it right away, x12 like that, times 2x to the 4th, and 2 times 1, I'm going to write 2 right away. I'm done with that. Now compare the variables. This has the higher exponent, meaning the x term is going to be at the bottom, and all you got to do is subtract the exponents. You're going to subtract 12 and 4, which will get you 8. You see how fast you're going? Once you understand all the mechanics of those 3 things that I talked about earlier, these will be a breeze. I see a negative exponent, so I'm going to tackle that first. I know that I'm going to have to add it on the top somewhere with the base x, so I'm going to just cross that off, and I can add it to this one if I wanted. That will take care of that. From here, let's simplify the top. There's nothing really I can do at the bottom. This has a 1, and I can combine all the terms with base x on it. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. I know that that's going to have x to the 8th power. We can do the coefficients next. 2 times 4, which is 8, times 3. That's going to get me 24. y4 and y4 add the exponents. That's going to get me y8. And we could just write what's at the bottom. So we got rid of a lot of things right away. And then keep going from there. Try to simplify further. 24 divided by 3. That's going to be 8. So we can write that at the top. Done. x8 is by itself. And now I got 8 and 2. 8 is the higher one, so I know the result is going to be on the top for y. And just subtract 8 and 2. 8 minus 2 is y6. Boom. Super duper fast, guys. Super duper fast. Stay tuned if you need more math help. But until then, I will see you on the next episode. Peace.